Please rewind this cassette.
Alright guys, let's talk about the 2019 Oscars, or whatever the hell it was. This was a weird year, wasn't it? The whole thing about this Oscars was it was clear that the Academy was trying to broaden its audience. A lot of the films nominated and a lot of films that won are very mainstream and made a lot of money last year. See, over the last few years, the Oscars seems to have been leaning towards art house films. Movies like Moonlight winning Best Picture over La La Land. Even Shape of Water, it was a successful movie, but it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't the success of like Black Panther or Bohemian Rhapsody, let's put it that way. So, for one thing this year, it was the first year that they didn't have a host. I think they had done it a couple times in the past. For me, I've been watching the Academy Awards since I was a kid. I've always been a big fan. Now, I was with a lot of people, though. I thought the show was becoming too long. It was becoming too boring. It was getting too political. Most of the people they got to host, like Jimmy Kimmel, were terrible. It was just becoming a cringe fest, and it was really hard to set through. And I thought that I wanted something different with a little bit more energy and maybe some more minimalism. I'd also like something that embraced cinema history a little bit more and was a celebration of film. They seem to talk about everything else except movies at the Oscars now. So one thing that was surprising was that not having a host didn't really hurt the show. I mean, it didn't make it better, let me make that clear. But it was certainly like, okay, maybe you could lose a host and you can cut out 30-40 minutes of the host wasting our time. Beyond that, though, I thought it was weird that it was really just like they would cut from every presenter one after another, then there'd be a random music number, and that was pretty much the show. It starts in the most cynical way possible with Adam Lambert and Queen coming out to sing "We Will Rock You" and "We Are the Champions." I mean, Jesus Christ, this was almost like the Grammys at one point. I mean, it was really just a whole Queen celebration. You could see what they were trying to do. They're trying to get people to watch the Oscars. So they're like, everybody loves Queen right now. Everybody loves Freddie Mercury, so let's make the whole show about them. So of course this leads to Bohemian Rhapsody undeservedly winning film editing. Like, are you fucking kidding? That film has terrible editing. Then Black Panther wins 3 Oscars, and Green Book wins Best Picture, which I guess pisses a lot of people off. Driving Miss Daisy 2, Electric Boogaloo. And beyond all that, it was just kind of like, it started off with some energy. I mean, I didn't like that opening Queen number, but, you know, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and Maya Rudolph were fine. For the most part, the speeches weren't horrible. They weren't as cringy as they have been in the last few years, but some went on way too long. Like, you won for Best Short Feature, or Best Short Documentary. I don't need to hear you talk for 5 minutes. I don't care. A lot of the pairings that they did for the presenters didn't feel right. It still ran over 3 fucking hours. And at the end of the day, it was what a lot of us predicted happened, like Alfonso Cuarón winning for cinematography, or Best Foreign Language Film and Best Director. There was some surprises, though. Olivia Colman winning Best Actress shocked a lot of people. Everyone thought Glenn Close was going to win. Then Black Panther overperforming in some categories, and of course Bohemian Rhapsody overperforming. But still, Shallows won. Green Book won, which a lot of people predicted for months but changed their minds because of the WGAs, but I had been saying Green Book was going to win for a while. This was in a lot of ways a very traditional Academy Awards, but in the same time it was like a very new style, and I don't know how it's going to stick. The ratings were only slightly higher. I've said this for years, I don't know why they just don't live stream the Academy Awards. They would probably get 50 million people watching it, and they could honestly, you know, people could pause it or leave. It would just be a little bit easier than having to watch it on television. Because people just watch the clips on YouTube the next day anyway. That's what usually happens, and they have a lot of views. I'm not upset Rami Malek won. I wish it wasn't for that movie, but I'm a fan of him. Green Book, whatever. Roma, whatever. It was just kind of, it just really reflected that I thought 2018 was kind of like a dull year for movies. Oh, and Spike Lee finally won an Oscar. Like, 4 guys win for the screenplay, but Spike Lee's the only one that gets to talk. And he takes us back to the 1600s, because that's where we need to go back to bring up bad things that happened. And he tells us to do the right thing, and then he dances around like a little goblin and jumps on Samuel Jackson. I mean, it was nice to see some people win, and it was also, I mean, it was entertaining enough for the first half. But yeah, by the end, I think it became very dry and boring. Julia Roberts at the end was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I guess overall I'd give it like a 5 or a 6. It was a mediocre award ceremony. It wasn't bad. It was certainly better than the last couple years as far as the show went. But the movies were less interesting. The comedy bits weren't great. There was like 2 bits that were funny. And I felt like, yeah, the music numbers really dragged on, except for the one with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga doing that Shallow song, because it was really well directed and put together. And then I found out Bradley Cooper did all that. So that's why it makes sense. So that stuff was nice, but still, it was like, it's like, man, this is just making you guys feel more irrelevant. It's really every show, every year, it just makes it feel more distant that the Academy Award has a special meaning like it used to have. I mean, it really did. It used to be important, and it just isn't there anymore. The false idol, right? False idol they talk about, it's biblical. The Oscar, this little golden man that gives you this higher importance or meaning to your life that, like, you really represent something with this. Indiana Jones was looking for an idol in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then he was chased by a giant boulder. Perhaps Hollywood did not learn a lesson from that movie. Perhaps searching for this so long is leading them to a boulder chasing them out of the cave they've put themselves in willingly. I don't know, I'm kind of over it. It's unfortunate because I really used to love it. This was like my Super Bowl as a movie fan. But I just don't think they care about the movies. And I don't like not seeing the passion for filmmaking being discussed and presented at this, which is, I think, the reason a lot of us watch it, is that we love movies, that we love celebrities, and we love famous people and them talking about doing these great things. But when they just try to talk like normal people relating to us, it just comes off as more boring. You don't really get into the spectacle of it like you used to. And with that as well, maybe movies are just changing so fast that the Academy Awards can't keep up with what we want. And because of formats out there now and platforms like YouTube, it's just a different world where we talk about films. You know, everybody has like this 2-hour, essay analysis channel now for movies. And everybody live streams this stuff now and talks about this stuff, so maybe it's just irrelevant in general. I'm not really sure what the future holds for the Academy Awards. I hope they can get their shit together. I would like a show that feels fresh and fun. But maybe too many cooks in the kitchen. Who knows? Mediocre Academy Awards, though. Didn't really care about any of the films nominated. Was happy to see Phil Lord and Chris Miller win an Oscar for Spider-Man. And Olivia Colman. That was cool. And that's about it. I don't have much else to say about it. I've ranted about it a few times, but overall I think good effort, Academy, but still very flawed execution. Maybe things will be better next year. Maybe. Hopefully we have some heavy hitters that can actually make the award ceremony interesting. But at least it was a close race. You know, you didn't know what was going to win. That doesn't always happen, right?